Join me on Thursday, May 10th at 5 p.m. Eastern for the 9 Key Ps of Digital Citizenship, sponsored by NetRef. Just go to coolcatteacher.com/NetRef and stay tuned at the end of the show to learn more about a special offer from NetRef. 5 ways to help kids understand digital safety without scaring them to death. Episode 305. The 10-Minute Teacher Podcast with Vicki Davis. Every weekday, you'll learn powerful, practical ways to be a more remarkable teacher today. So today we're talking with Wanda Terral, 23-year educator and district technology coordinator in Lakeland, Tennessee. We're going to talk about 5 ways to help kids understand digital safety without scaring them to death. So, Wanda, how do we get started?
I think the biggest important thing is to give kids an opportunity to practice all of these things that we're teaching them about. For years, we've been telling them, protect your safety, protect your identity, but they don't have a chance to practice that. So in our district, we really provide them a nice walled garden where they can explore and push the boundaries a little bit like kids are going to do anyway, but we keep an eye on them and we have those teachable moments because we're able to provide that in that environment.
So what do you use for your walled garden environment?
We are a G Suite district, and our students use Chromebooks, and certainly that adds a level of safety that we are able to monitor. We have added on additional features. We use Securely. We also use GoGuardian in combination with Securely. We also provide a backup of their Google account through SysCloud, which adds some additional policies that trigger things when students do things they're not supposed to, like sending emails directly to our guidance counselors if there are examples of bullying going on in a Google Doc, on a Google slide. So a lot of things that we use the technology to keep an eye on them, but also to let us know when we need to intervene.
Okay, so let's talk about this second item, keeping an eye on things. I'm intrigued by, so are the students able to generate the email that goes to the guidance counselor, or is that generated automatically by the teacher? How does that work?
It's generated by the services that we use. So it's based on triggers, usually by keywords. So for example, if a student is on their Chromebook and they decide to go to Google and search for suicide, an email gets sent automatically out of the system to whoever we have it assigned to go to. We have it assigned to go to our guidance counselor at the school for that child, as well as our district psychologist. And I also get a copy of that so I can make sure nothing falls in the cracks. But it goes beyond that self-harm as well. We have different policies in the service that allow us to monitor words that are common to cyberbullying, words that are more threatening, so that we're able to, without manual intervention, keeping an eye on them. The technology keeps an eye on them for us. And then when needed, we will intervene.
So have some positives come out of this method of keeping an eye on things using technology to really amp up the eyes that are there too.
Absolutely. I mean, we don't have enough hours in the day to do what we have to do, especially in a small district like mine where we wear a lot of hats, and leveraging the technology to help us in that process not only makes us more sane, but it keeps our students safer.
Awesome. Okay. So you're creating an environment where they can practice. You're keeping an eye on things by harnessing the power of technology. How do you try to model digital citizenship, like help them resolve issues when there are problems?
Well, usually what will happen first is sometimes we'll contact the teacher and involve them as well. Frequently, it's the traditional come to the office, let's talk about this. But what we try to have our teachers do, particularly in our middle school where we're 1-to-1, grades 5 through 8, is encouraging teachers to use the tools in the classroom and incorporate guidelines for how to behave as they're doing these projects and using these tools. For example, if they're doing a Flipgrid assignment where they're recording a video and then they have to go on and give comments to other students, they stress the concept of, would you like somebody talking badly to you? Well, no, don't do that. Don't go talk badly about somebody else. How do you provide constructive criticism, and how do you do that in a technological environment? So
yes, and that's so important. I teach the kids the compliment sandwich, that, you know, and on a genuine compliment, constructive feedback, and another genuine compliment, so that people know that they're appreciated, but we all have a way to improve. Now, Wanda, let's talk about this not scaring kids to death, because, you know, there are risks, and a lot of kids don't think about all their private, you know, social media that they think are private, but they're really not. How do these first three things we've talked about, how do they roll over into what kids do at home? How do you keep from scaring them to death, but encouraging them to use a Snapchat in a positive way, for example?
The thing that we try to do is we try not to scare them, but we also want to teach them that people are always watching. And I think it's possible to do that without scaring someone. So when a student in our system searches for something or goes to a website that gets flagged as inappropriate, they know we're watching because we're keeping an eye on them, and we reach out and we have those discussions. I think there's a fine balance between am I paranoid that somebody's watching me, and are they really watching me? And so that fear can definitely come in there. I think the concept of getting the kids to understand that we're not trying to be punitive, but that we're trying to keep them safe.
Yeah.
That there are bad things out there, but if you do what we're trying to teach you how to do, you'll have a chance to deal with that when you get older.
You know, what blows my mind is when I deal with an issue and kids are so shocked that I know they searched for this, or I know they did that. Why are they so shocked that we're able to monitor their behavior? I mean, why are business people so shocked that their business is monitoring their behavior? I mean, we don't really like it because we want this false idea of privacy, but why are people so shocked with this?
I know. And this is our first year of a one-to-one. And, you know, I kind of figured after the first couple of months, it would get out to the kids. You know, I looked for this and they called me into the office. They know we're watching and they still push the buttons because that's what kids do. You know, they think, well, maybe today I can get away with it. They're learning, and we're providing them that environment to push those boundaries. And I'm hoping that as they get older, once they've gotten used to working in that kind of environment and their maturity catches up with their skill levels, that they'll understand, you know, we're here to teach them, we're here to keep them safe.
Okay, so you've talked about creating an environment where they can practice, keeping an eye on things, using technology tools to help the people that are in those spaces, helping kids, you know, learn how to resolve problems, and giving them guidelines for how to behave as they go through. And our fourth was teach them that people are watching and deal with the issues as they arise. Is there a fifth and final piece of advice that you would give to educators who are kind of scared to have students in these spaces? I mean, some of them are thinking, you know, it was just easier when we could watch the hall.
Oh, it was much easier. It was much easier. You know, the whole positiveness of using technology in the classroom is that it brings the world inside our classroom. But there are some things in the world we don't want in our classroom. It's a fine balance to what do we invite into our door and what do we say stay away. And I think giving students the knowledge and the experience to make those decisions, who do I let into my house, and empowering that student agency to make those decisions. They may not make those decisions correct when they're younger. The maturity level just isn't there yet. But if we keep scaffolding that, keep providing them those opportunities, they're going to get it. We just have to give them that environment.
Well, and if you think about how those who work with wildlife prepare to release something into the wild, they don't do it. Typically, it's a gradual process of more and more freedom, of more and more experience as that animal learns to make good decisions and adapt to the wild. And in some ways, wouldn't you say that's kind of what we're doing with kids? We're giving them more and more experience, letting them make more and more choices and guiding them so that they're ready when it's time to get out there.
Absolutely. And luckily, I'm in an environment where the parents are supportive of us doing that. They know that we're doing everything we can to keep their child safe. And they put a lot of trust in us, and we don't want to let them down.
So educators, we can help kids understand digital safety without scaring them to death. It makes a lot of sense that we can use technology to help us, that we can create safe environments. But I believe the wrong thing to do, it was nice to just be able to watch the halls. That is not the reality of where we are. We have digital halls as well as physical halls now, and we need to be in both. As we blend our schools and we blend our classrooms, we need to effectively take students and help them to be safe online as well as in our physical spaces. And Wanda has given us some fantastic ideas to do that. So I hope you'll go and apply them at your school and tweet me and let me know what you do. On Thursday, May 10th at 5 p.m. Eastern, I'll be sharing the 9 key Ps of digital citizenship in a webinar sponsored by NetRef. I've written about these on Edutopia and in my book, Reinventing Writing. But I have some updates about how I teach these 9 important aspects of digital citizenship. Join us for the webinar or sign up to have the webinar emailed to you after it's completed. I appreciate NetRef for sponsoring this webinar on an important topic and for offering all attendees a free pilot of their internet management and monitoring solution. Sign up today for the webinar at coolcatteacher.com/netref. That's coolcatteacher.com/NETREF. Thank you for listening to the 10-Minute Teacher Podcast. You can download the show notes and see the archive at coolcatteacher.com/podcast. Never stop learning.